Great. Okay, today we're here to talk about personality traits and temperaments. Next slide. Also, our mission statement. Our mission statement and established goals. Our statement is to provide an education on personality traits and temperament development throughout the human lifespan. Our goal is to provide an education that can be utilized in a career or personal setting to optimize productivity and lasting relationships. Our goals. So our goals that we establish are to find what is centered in their life, identify key elements that factor how a person's identity would change, what circumstances might provoke you to change, compare and contrast how identity is developed and how identity changes during a lifespan, analyze a major life event and or time period based on lifespan theories, explain changes in personality traits. One's journey through life is more than just biological. It's shaped by our cultural, socioeconomic status, and so on. And then we explain how this can affect personalities. What effect does one's culture have on the personality, traits, and temperament development?
Okay, theorist Erikson stages of psychosocial development. So theorist named Erik Erikson developed these stages. Stage 1, trust versus mistrust. Stage 2, autonomy versus shame and doubt. Stage 3, initiative versus guilt. Stage 4, industry versus inferiority. Stage 5, identity versus confusion. Stage 6, intimacy versus isolation. Stage 7, generativity versus stagnation. Stage 8, integrity versus despair. So childhood, infant to 18. These are the stages and important events during this time. Trust versus mistrust is feeding. Autonomy versus shame and doubt is potty train. Initiative versus guilt is discovery. Industry versus inferiority is education. Identity versus confusion is relationships. Okay, childhood, infant to 18, stage 1, trust versus mistrust. At this time, an infant is completely reliant on their caregiver, and the infant's trust is found on the caregiver's dependability. Depending on the level of care given to a child, the infant may acquire trust or develop a notion that the world is unpredictable. Stage 2, autonomy versus doubt. At this stage, the emphasis is on gaining a better sense of personal control. A child discovers their body and expresses themselves throughout this time. Allowing a child to make decisions develops confidence, whereas not doing so promotes uncertainty. Stage 3, initiative versus guilt. At this point, infants are going to school. They learn the fundamental principles and what is and not appropriate. If children are supported, they will pursue their passions, but if they are shamed, they will develop guilt. Childhood continues. Stage 4, industry versus inferiority. Through interactions with peers, children would begin to develop a sense of pride in their abilities and accomplishments. Children who are praised by their parents develop a sense of confidence, whereas children who receive little recognition creates a sense of inferiority.
Stage 5, identity versus confusion. This stage plays an essential role in developing one's identity and will continue to influence behavior and development for the rest of one's life. During this stage, it is vital that teens develop a sense of self and personal identity. Success in this stage allows one to stay true to themselves, while failure leads to confusion and a weak sense of self.
So what personality trait is important for children to focus on during childhood? Please select up to 3 personality traits and remember your selection in the next few slides.
Adulthood, 20 to 70 years old. Stage 6, intimacy versus isolation. It is vital in this stage for adults to form bonds and relationships between one another. Creating bonds with one another also contributes to personality identity development. Stage 7, generativity versus stagnation. During the stage of adulthood, we begin to contribute to the world and become active in our community. Without doing so, in this time, adults feel unproductive with their involvement in the world. Stage 8, integrity versus despair. The final stage is a time to reflect on life. We begin to either look back and are proud of our past, or if we regret any moments in which we lived. This stage comes with many negative and positive feelings.
Once again, what personality trait is important for adults to focus on for their adulthood? Please select up to 3 personality traits and remember your selection for the next slide. Do you still remember what selections you have picked? Were those selections based on what you felt you focused on as a child or adult? Or were they focused on to you by your parents or peers? Were those selections based on what you think people in that age range should focus on? We hope these questions have helped you understand yourself better. Please enter your selections in the polls below, and maybe you'll find that other people agree with your line of thinking. When you chose the personality traits for childhood and adulthood, were these choices part of your upbringing, which gave you the personality traits you have chosen? Or were those traits something you wished to have? Food for thought.
What are the different temperaments and which type do you belong to? Are you sanguine, phlegmatic, melancholy, or choleric? Sanguine. People with this temperament have a wide range of emotions and a wide range of behavior. They are the most versatile out of all 4 temperaments. Phlegmatic. They are service-oriented, exhibiting introverted traits, but they will work with others to achieve a common goal. Although they are slow to warm up to, they make friends fairly easily. Melancholy. This temperament is detailed and quality-oriented. They are obsessed with understanding what is right, a rule follower, factual, logical, and analytical. Lastly, choleric. It is the rarest out of all 4. Makes goals and will stick to it until it is achieved. Exhibit a positive demeanor and constantly moving forward. They are extroverted and exude self-confidence. They are also creative and never run out of ideas. Even though they aren't afraid of meeting and talking to new people, they manage to have very little friends and slow to build relationships in their personal life.
As we've seen throughout our research, people's behaviors is created from an early age. Although this can change as a person grows and matures, there are traits that remain present and distinctive. That is to say that all of those people who from childhood showed a behavior full of ambition but were restless can be successful, while it is the opposite for those who show less communicative behaviors, since they were deprived of being able to explore and express what they really wanted. With the different behaviors that exist, people can identify more and more with themselves. These can help people to function in an easier work and personal environment, since knowing where they belong, they can avoid and improve their self-improvement and development.
I will be reading Elena's slide on her behalf, and here's his personality traits. When a person is curious and understands different things, this helps them in their personal life, since they can excel in their work by having the ability to capture instructions and learn from their mistakes. And when something is not clear to them, they can work on it and get help to learn more so there's clarity. While a person with strong temperament and who does not know how to control his emotions or temperament, this can affect him in his work and professional life. That is, in occasions, the person can allow himself to be manipulated very easily by his emotions, and this can cloud his judgment and provoke bad behavior in working hours and cause him to be fired.